morning. Y'all okay? God is good. All the time. I feel at home here today. I'm trying to not sound like a preacher. It's something like when you get in front of people, like your dialect changed for some reason. I don't talk like this when I was in the car with my wife. I'll tell my kids, shut up! When you get up there, you start trying to articulate and say things. But I'm trying to be as real as possible with you all on today. Let's just give a round of applause. Because he says, the first two, more important than Jesus said before he left here. To love God with all your heart. Not some of it, not a small portion, but all of your heart. But I believe most people don't know how to love God with all their heart. They don't know what that is. It's not just saying, God, I love you. But Apostle, I believe that when you love God with all your heart, that everything you do matters. Because God matters. So everything that you do, everything that you say, everything that you're involved with, I believe that you will either continue or stop because God matters. So when you get to that point in your life where God matters, in everything that you do, whether you think he's watching or not watching, whether you're in church or in the streets or wherever you're at, that you're going to make sure that you do everything that lines up with him because God ain't deep. It's just simple. If God matters to you, you don't have to have a long discussion. Because he matters. You don't have to ask somebody, should I or shouldn't I? Because God matters in your life that you can answer your own questions. Amen. Come on with it. If he matters in your life. The second thing God said, the Savior, love thy neighbor as thyself. Out of all the things he could have said, Apostle, why would he say, love thy neighbor as thyself? You know why he said that. Because, oh, we love ourselves. If I ask them to hold up their cell phone, they'll show you 1,000 selfies. That's why the internet, and they keep coming up with different things, Instagram and Glide and Kick and all of these things they coming up with so we can video record ourselves, take pictures because we love ourselves. But when I came out of the world and I gave up all of the things that I was doing and I no longer had all that fast money coming in, someone gave me a job working at Barnes & Nobles. But I worked at Barnes & Nobles during the hours that Barnes & Nobles weren't open. Because I was cleaning Barnes & Nobles. So I went from making thousands and thousands of dollars a week, Apostle, to making $200 a month. Not a week, but $200 a month just cleaning up the store 2 hours every morning. And I remember one morning when I was cleaning up and God was talking to me and he said, struggle with sin is because we don't love our neighbor as we love ourselves. Didn't understand what he was saying, Apostle. You know, he'll say things and then he just leave you to marinate on that. So weeks and weeks went by, and I just kept thinking of that thing. I said that we struggle with sin because we don't love our neighbor as thyself. Then the revelation hit me one day when I was standing before some people, and God said, if you love thy neighbor as thyself, then I will never rob from my neighbor because I love my neighbor because I will never steal from myself. If I love my neighbor as myself, then I will not commit adultery on my wife because I wouldn't want my wife to commit adultery on me. And then I wouldn't want to hurt some little girl across town, making her believe something is more than what it is. So if I love her as I love myself, then I will never commit adultery. If I love my neighbor as thyself, I can never pull out a weapon and purposely harm someone because that would be like harming myself. Amen. I would never do that. But see, God is trying to save us through his text when he says certain things. Because if thou shalt not kill, it can lead to all kinds of things. Revenge. Someone comes and take your life. It can lead to prison where you'll be taken away from society for the rest of your life. But if I love my neighbor as myself, I would never do any of these things because I love my neighbor as myself. This is God talking. So all of the things that we worry about in this world, it don't even matter. As long as you love God with all your heart and you love your neighbor as thyself, this Christian walk is a cakewalk. It ain't easy. But if you apply principles to your life, love thy neighbor as thyself. God did not say, become a professional scripture quoter. Because applying them is way more important than quoting them. But, see, I got ahead of myself. This is not what I had organized to do. I would have did 2 songs by now. See, that's how I had it mapped out. I walk up and boom, bam. And when I get up here, that's all right. Not my will, Father.
Thank you, God.
But see, the last time I visited you great people, I told you all about my dad and how he was a preacher and how I was raised in the church and how my dad was saved under the sound of my voice. I didn't understand. I was running around the pews and playing and all that. And when I got out in the world, I was making money and hanging out with this person doing this thing, touring the world, making all of this money and all these things. But I always tried to do evil, but I couldn't get all the way in. I had 1 foot in, but I couldn't get both feet in. I didn't understand what was going on. Then I realized that my father said that if you're under the sound of my voice, that was the things that kept me.
Yes.
The thing that she was talking about in a private place. Those was the things that kept me. Well, let me let you understand some things. When I gave my life to God, I came in, Apostle, with a competitive spirit. Because I'm in a world of competition. That's all we ever did. When I had my clubs, I'm competing with the club across town, the other clubs this place. When I make my records, I'm competing with this artist, I'm doing all these things. I came in with a competitive spirit. I was saved, but I still had the streets in me. Still had the streets in me. So when I came into beautiful churches such as this one, I couldn't even sit in the pews without saying to myself, somebody need to give me the microphone. I wasn't used to just sitting back, playing the background, as we say in the streets. They need to know I'm up in here. When I was in the streets, I used to pay DJs $300 a time just to let them know I'm up in here. Stop the music to let them know Davyne is in the building. Because in the world, we have this thing that we just have to be seen. So here I was. This competitive spirit when I came into the kingdom. So I would sit there and I would watch seasoned Christians like the apostle stand up here and quote scriptures from left to right and do it so fluently and so effortlessly. And I would say to myself, because I got a competitive spirit, I've got to have that. But Apostle, why did I say I did that? Because the competitive spirit in me felt like if I stood before the people, that would show me more proof. Try to help somebody. That if I got up here and I could quote scriptures off the top of my head, it would make the people believe that I was in a place that I really was not. I don't even know why I'm saying this, but it is what it is. It would show myself approved. That's all we did in the world, because there's some people in the world that want to be rich, they want the nice things of the world, they just don't want to work for it. So most people in the streets, I can say most of them because I used to hang out with all of them, most of them, that they are content with people believing they have something just as content as they are if they actually had it. Some of them is fine with you believing that they're doing very good in life and they will live off of that. And I used to put all of the time, this extra time and effort trying to prove to people that I was successful. I could have used that same energy and actually could have been successful. That's what I call accepting the bare minimum of life. The very bare minimum. As long as I can fool people, I'm good. But see, it's the behind the scenes that no one knows about with you. And that's why they like to say you're a public success but a private failure. That was me for a long period of time. And I'm not talking about having money, I'm talking about having things in order. So Apostle, I came in, I watched great people get up and quote these scriptures, and I said, I needed that, I wanted that. And God showed me something one day. So when I came in, I used to go home and I would, if I knew I had to be here on Sunday morning, I would quote scriptures at home, I would read one or two. So when I come here, I know at least two. Then I just got to ration them out. Don't say one at the very beginning, because they'll forget that. Wait till you get a little further in. It depends on how you say it. If you say it without looking at the Bible and just say it effortlessly, they'll believe you in a certain place. They'll believe you know what you're talking about. Before I get away from the youth, let me tie it in with them. It's just like when I was in class. We used to have this thing called the standardized test. You know, the big test. doing my thing, but when it's time to take this big standardized test, I almost look like a totally different person. Now, he got B's in this class, but this test, you sure this was him? See, this was what was happening. The same thing that happened to me when I gave my life to God. I would go home. The teacher said study chapter 8. I would go home. I would study chapter 8. Go through it, live lamb. She tell me we're having a quiz or whatever the next day. The next day, when she give us the quiz, it looked so familiar. I ace it, get a B, A, or whatever, and it was all good. The same thing, if I knew I was coming to this church, I would go home and study a few scriptures. I would get the next day, I would perform and quote those scriptures. Then when I get down here, I say, oh, he's so awesome, he's wonderful, God is really using him.
Amen.
I get back down here in class, I study what the teacher said. The next day I do well, but when the big standardized test comes, I know nothing. When it came to the church, I would study 1, 2, 3 scriptures. I would come, y'all say, oh, God is going to do some mighty things. You're so awesome. They love me. Get down here in a real standardized situation, I know nothing. Study in class, do well on the test, the big test, I know nothing. Go home, I study the scriptures, come here and quote 1 or 2, sometimes I would mess them up, but it's all good. But then y'all would say, oh, God is really using them. But when I get in a private situation, I remember nothing. So, in class, between getting the A's and the B's, what happened between the A's and the B's and the standardized test? What happened between the scripture quoting and the, oh, he's so awesome, God is using him. I need you to talk to my child. I need to get you a CD. I need you a book. But then when I get here, I personally, nothing. So Apostle, help me, Holy Ghost. What's happening between here and here? Now I'm starting off right. I'm doing everything I said. We need to do we need to study. I'm studying. I get here, I pass the test like Mom and Daddy said, but yet still when they bring the big one in that matters, the one that's going to let me graduate, I can't get out of school. What is happening? I did what the apostle said. He said, God, everybody need to read at least for 15, 20 minutes about the Bible a night. I did that. I remember a couple of scriptures. I got here and I did pretty well. I fooled y'all. Some of y'all seasoned ones came up to me and said, oh, I ain't never been blessed like that. I ain't making this up. But I didn't know why I'm saying this. But I get here, real situation come. Can't even remember that in the beginning God created the heaven and earth. Can't even remember that. And I didn't study that last night. I knew that. I think that's one of the two when I studied that. That's not one. I already knew that. But here's what's happening. I believe that anything you do in life, you have to have an interest in it. And your interest cannot be to get over on people. Your interest cannot be to deceive people. Your interest cannot be to manipulate people. You have to have an interest of help, an interest to love, thy neighbor as thyself. And if God matters, then I would have never stumbled when I got here. If education mattered, I would have knew it here as well as I knew it here. But it's between here. What's happening there? Because all of my life, young people, I always studied to remember, but I to do that. But when I got down here, the test wasn't on those 2 pages. It was on everything. That's why I knew nothing. Because when it came here, it didn't start with interest. I just wanted the bare minimum. That's when I got down here. I knew nothing. Say something. When I come to church, I want to quote the scriptures for all the wrong reasons, not so I can apply them to my life so that I can get free, but so I can deceive. So when I got here, even though y'all lifted me up, I couldn't receive it on the inside because I was a fraud. A fraud in the house of God. See, God don't have to always expose you to people. He will deal with you in any way that he sees fit. So he dealt with me, apostle. Because I had this testimonial. Oh, my truck flipped 9 times. I went through a windshield. I broke my neck, broke all my ribs. I broke my right hip. Some of my left hip before they had to sew it on. I had this awesome testimony where I went. He was telling me, oh, he got an awesome testimony. Then after a while, it became not about God, it's about me giving this testimony. Say that. Go there. See, it is power in your testimony. And for those of you who don't know what a testimony is, Saul on his way to Damascus is knocked off his horse. He's blinded by the light. He's a Christian killer. But God saw something in him. He was a Christian killer. Murder, death. But God saw something in him. Blinded him. And then he became a grace preacher. That's a testimony. But the only person who can truly give it is Paul. Not Saul. Because he was the killer. But the person that could give the testimony is Paul. Which from Saul to Paul, God gave him a name change. Anybody had a name change? Yeah. I went from David to Davyne. And back to David. That's a testimony. God raised up David from a little shepherd boy to slew Goliath. And out of all his brothers, he was anointed by Samuel to be the next king of Israel. From being a little shepherd boy, and people say, it's time for Samuel to anoint the brothers. They brought every brother up besides David, left him out there tending to the sheep. Here's my oldest son. Look at him. He's tall and handsome. He's strong. God said he's not the one. Here's my other son right here. He's fought before. He has a track record of beating people up and down. He's not the one. Here's my other son. He served in the war. He is a general. He is a natural-born leader. He has awards and everything. God said, no, he's not the one. You see, in this world, we always feel like someone is the one because of their credentials, what they had, what they've been through. We forget about little Timmy. He ain't had nowhere to go. He ain't did nothing. He don't have no track record or nothing, but so he can't be anything in life. So we look towards the ones that have done something because God allowed them to have something before you, and we think that they are the chosen ones. So David's own dad brought every brother up except him. Samuel said, I know that I'm supposed to come here to anoint someone in this house. You sure you don't have no more sons? Well, I have one out there. He tended to the sheep, but you know, he busy. You bring him in. Why is he out there? That's right. Bring him in. That's right. He's your son, ain't he? That's right. Bring David in
then I could see him like he probably was smelling the dirt. Little frail little boy. And instantly when he came in, he felt the Spirit of God tell him, this is the one. So he anoints David with oil on his head. You will be the next king of Israel. But hear this. Even though David, loving God is the way he did, fighting the lions and tigers and the bears, all out there to keep the lambs, even with all that, when God put him in power, even great as David was, he failed God. He failed. Not only did he commit adultery, but he killed murder. Committed murder. Got a woman pregnant out of wedlock with one of the soldiers that was married to the woman. So he got the man out there fighting. Well, he should have been out there anyway. David in the palace having him a grand old time. He should have been escorting the soldiers to war. But David did that. He got the woman pregnant, had the man killed so that he could cover it up, moved the woman in. That baby died. But then God gave them another baby. And that baby became Solomon, which was the wisest man in the Bible. That wrote the book of Proverbs. So God took that foul situation and still got glory out of it. We don't agree with the situation, but we know the outcome only God could do. But the only person who can give that testimony is David. So all of the people that came before us with their great testimonies, it's just an account of what happened to them. That's what these stories in the Bible is, an account of what happened. So when you give your testimony, it's an account of what happened when God gets the glory. Where God gets the glory. Not the testimonies of I was in my prayer closet when my light bill was due. Went in and clapped my hands, start singing this old song called Jesus is Real. Came out, my phone rang. It was my sister. She said, girl, I'm on my way to your house. I got your light bill running. He's all right. But I learned a long time ago to chew up the grass and spit out the sticks. Because see, if you're not careful when you get these testimonies, you'll lead people to trying to do what you did for God to open a door or to fix something for you. I got everybody trying to go into a closet in their room. Because they're not following the message, they're following you. Your actions, what you did. But we have to lead people to Him, not to us. So as I speak to you all today, I'm speaking wholeheartedly of what I did and what I did not do. Came in, and I stood before the people for all the wrong reasons. Because I was used to being on stage. I was used to people saying good things. But I never had a relationship with people. So I really didn't know how to bond with people, because when I was in the world, in 07, when I was on the road with Lil Wayne and Young Jesus, and I would just get on stage and just call women out their name, and yeah, we get ready to do this and that, and ain't really had no direct for the people. Because it was something in my mind, I was never like them. But I did it because the world required else. They're not looking at me hard enough at the light. What else I need? I need these rims. So I go and I acquire these rims because I want all eyes on me when I make that left turn. They need to know I'm coming through. There still is an uneasy feeling. They still ain't staring hard. And I got to smoke them windows out. But I'm going to keep the windows down because they need to see me. Make that left turn. But when I do roll them up there, I know that the windows is smoked out. They still ain't paying me quite enough attention. Now I got to put that beat in my car. So if they don't see me, they surely gonna hear me. And by the time I acquire all these things, now the brand new car ain't brand new no more. The 2016s are out now, so now I got to figure out how to upgrade. Not because I need a car, but because I need the world to see me. Chasing false dreams. What is success? I want to be successful. When, how, and when can you decide or define that you are actually successful? Is it based on the job because you can lose that? Is it based on the big house you have that can get foreclosed on? Is it based on that car that you drive that nobody else can afford or pronounce? But guess what? It can be repossessed. Can't be based on the job because we lose them all the time. And not because we don't work well, but because those that are in high power didn't know how to budget and didn't know how to do things correctly because they didn't start the company off in a right place. So when they got down here, when it really counted, they had to fold. So when can you clearly say that I have reached my success? Can't base it off of the world's gifts and traditions and how they do it. I've been around superstars that are struggling that y'all think that are, oh, I wish I had it like them. Most of them wish they had it like you, a job, they get a check every week. Doesn't matter about what pictures you see them in the magazines, half the time they're just free. You show up to an event when people there, they take pictures, they show up in the magazine, you think that everybody getting a check for everything, and they're not. They're not, young people. I was one not getting a check. Not. On stage with fake chains and they out there killing themselves on a grab it. This is the world that we live in. I don't believe in just telling kids anything, young people, just to make y'all believe that, hey, if you just do everything right, all good things is going to happen. Because I believe you have to teach people how to fail. That's right. That's right. Because see, you can go to school, chase this American dream, get my diploma, I'm going to go to college, I'm going to do good, get this degree, and I'm going to get a job. And you teach them that, and you teach them that, and then when the job don't come, girls used to come to me when it didn't work out like that. And you know what I had for them when I was in the world? All I had was a brass pole for them to swing on. I can't give you no money, but I can give you an opportunity. And then when they took this opportunity, it was hard to go back to the real world because the real world don't pay like these men, these married men that used to come in these clubs, save and all. Because our minds is not in a place right now of respect. Because we don't love our neighbor as thyself, but we'll do whatever we got to do to get over, around, and on under anybody. Because we only care about ourselves. Ministry is not just about opening up a Bible and quoting scriptures and getting a good sermon. It's about a lifestyle change. A lifestyle change. That's why when you go on diets, they barely work. Because I tell people diets don't work. But when you change your lifestyle or how you do things, I'm going to give up this, I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to overdo it because I saw somebody else lost weight and I want to look like them. I want to do this, I want to do that. But when you just look at things in perspective, that I'm not young no more. I can't do all the things that I used to do. When I was young, I did these childish things, but when I got of age, I became a man, I put away my childish ways. Some things you gotta put away for the mere fact that you just too old to be doing it. You're just too old to be doing it. Fall back. Stop. Because I believe, Apostle, that every time we videotape ourselves and we hear these awesome messages that we think are awesome, I believe that a year from now when you play it back, you must disagree with something you said in order to truly be growing. Nobody is perfect. I'm not here to inspire anybody. I'm here to empower you because the inspiration was molded in you before you came. The inspiration was molded in you. Someone just has to go forth to show you that, hey, you can do it. You're not the future, young people. You are the present. They ask you all the time, where will you be, Apostle? You see yourself in the next 10 years. People always ask you that. I can't tell you what we're doing in 10 days, much less 10 years. What can I tell you? And truthfully, be honest with you. And you know when 10 years is up, somebody be standing there waiting on you. Yep. You see yourself in the next 10 years. Then when those 10 years up, here comes somebody else. Where you see yourself in the next 10 years? The whole world working for a future. Your biggest opportunity may be right where you are. Right where you are. Your biggest opportunity, your biggest moment, right where you are. We always working for the next thing. When a movie come out, we break our neck and go see, wait a minute. Then we wait on the next movie come. I mean, that's how the world has you. Always waiting on something else. Never satisfied. Young people, please hear me. Please hear me. You have an opportunity right now to do something with your life. You have an opportunity to be great right now. Can't wait on people's approval because their approval means nothing. The Bible said, what does it profit? Man, to gain the world, lose the soul. They have a saying, they say that you can't take it with you. They always talk about money. Possessions, you can't take it with you. But I believe you can't take your wisdom with you either. So I believe that as wise as you are, you need to try to help somebody. Each one teach one. I work in the school system. Yes, young people, I have a job. Amen. God blessed me to work in the school system. My wife, I work in the school system. And I watch these young kids every day. I watch them every day, Apostle. See, before I had that job, I hadn't worked for nobody in 13 years. When I gave my life to God, of course, I didn't have that fast money coming in no more. Didn't save up anything because, I remember I was. But when that beautiful thing went flipping, it didn't matter if I was in a Phantom or if I was in a Pinto, I just want to live. But I watch these young people all the time, watch all these young boys and they disrespect.
Say it.
Yeah, disrespect.
Say it.
watch these young boys at my school just push these girls like, watch these girls just laugh and just let these boys hit them. And I always try to look at their aim. Ain't but so much I could do when a young girl go to the principal and say, he was just playing. Ain't but so much I can do with my voice. I said, ma'am, you know what you're doing? You're teaching him to be a womanizer, a woman beater. You're preparing him for his future. These little young girls at our school, they high heels, this is middle school. High heels, lipstick. Here they are now. High heels, lipstick. We have to send them home for their clothes, too tight, too short. Then when a man says something to them sometime about something, then the parents come and they say, well, what you looking at my daughter for anyway? Now I know a lot of y'all women teach y'all daughters how to act like a woman. But there's a difference between acting like a woman and being a woman.
All right. All right. Say so.
So I watch them hit these girls. And these girls just laugh at them, and I know it hurt because I'm like, wow. So I started this thing at my job. It's called a boys intervention. That every time these kids get in trouble and do something, I bring them to my office and I try to talk with them to see what's really going on.
Amen.
It's not about the discipline in it, because sometimes if they only at school for 8 hours a day, they only in my office for maybe 30 minutes. But they have a whole world they go to when they leave school. Some go home to dysfunctional families. It's just mama working night shifts, so she ain't there to really even greet them when they come home. Some of them living with their grandma, torn between mama and daddy. There's kids in our house, at our school, that's been molested by their biological parents that still live in the home with them. They have to see them every day. So it's bigger than disciplining them. So I try to be not just a friend, but an outlet that they can talk to me. So I can help them. You see, when I look at TV and I see all these things that's happening in Ferguson, and I look at this young boy that got murdered by the cops. But see, it'd be one thing to be up there, y'all protesting for that. But then we go a little further, we see him doing something he shouldn't have been doing. So I told them that during the Martin Luther King days, most of them don't know. All they know is I had a dream, Martin Luther King gave a speech. They don't understand that Martin Luther King, they did what they had to do because that was the era in which they was in. They protested because they was locked out. So in order for them to understand clearly what we're doing and what we're trying to do, that we need a voice that we're not just free from slavery, but we have a voice that we matter. So in order for people in high places to hear us, we're going to unitedly stand out here and show you that we are somebody. So they fought and they did everything against racism and everything for you people to be able to go to school for free. But I tell them that the protesting days, Apostle, forgive me for saying this, is long behind us. Because we're no longer locked out like Dr. King was. world, parents, check your child.
That's right.
My dad checked me. Your kids don't have to go to everything that their school has.
So right. Say that. Amen.
Kids, I know it's our friends.
Amen. Say it. Say it.
They wanted him to come, and don't bring him back.
Say it.
I'm telling you this because mom and daddy, they didn't care how much I got mad. And I'm guilty because my own kids, they can look at me the wrong way and I feel sorry. All right, come on. How much is it? We got a couch at home right now tore up because they come around the corner, it's the same thing. They slide across the chair, they jump on it. And I never say nothing until I'm actually doing something serious and I need them to stop. And I grab the bell and all the other times it's wee. Daddy says nothing. So when you don't do nothing, then when you bring them to events like this, they're going to embarrass you.
Yeah.
Expect them to sit. You ever been in a store and you want it down, you knock them through the roof, but you saw we had company, it was right here, right here. So you couldn't say nothing about it. You talking that little much? McDonald's one day, my son just jumped up on the counter. Like something he never did before. I was beyond embarrassed. We had company behind us. And you know what they were saying. You have to check your children.
Yes, you do.
Make them mad, but they have to know the difference between you and the world. It's not that what mom and dad says goes, but mom and dad is teaching you what's right. Because I got kids at my school, Apostle, that their parents teach them that it's what I say. It don't matter if it's right or wrong. They won't come up there to check on grades, but they'll come because we took their child's cell phone.
Wow.
Leave work, catch a ride, do everything else. I pay for that phone.
Oh my God.
We want this world to be a better place. Can't just be concerned about your good child because somebody else's bad child can harm your good child. So you have to be concerned about everybody's child. Talk briefly and told me about the killing going on here. See, the murders and all that, that is something that we can't come together actually to stop. But the only thing that we can do is try to stop one person at a time and change their mindset. Change their mindset. Because if you set out to say, hey, I'm going to stop this violence, you have already defeated yourself, because that's something we cannot do. But we have to show them how to survive in this evil world, because this world is going to be evil until we leave, because we're not in heaven. We're not in heaven. You have to show them what to do and what not to do. You have to teach them. Like a broken record, they learn the words and they hear it over and over and over. Got to teach them. You got to tell them. This is where we at right now in our lives. Young people, I had a room full of kids. I asked them one day, I said, if you can have the suspicious car, where would you drive? They start naming all these cars. Who got here? They naming cars. I didn't know they even knew about it. So I said, if you can have this car for free, what would you drive out? A Ferrari, they naming all these cars. I said, okay, when God removed everybody from earth, just you, what would you drive? And somebody say, what matter then? You know, at the end of the day, all we want people to do is to see us in these things and with these things. That's it. You personally don't care how you get to church as long as you get there. But because there's people there, you want to pull up in something nice. That's just how we do. I ain't saying nothing wrong with wanting nice things, but that should not be your main focus in life. You ever turn down doing something and had some extra money, and then something happened, and you like, thank God I got that money to take care of this. I didn't know this was coming. When the scales fall off your eyes, you start seeing things. Found some money one time at $200. I'm like, yes, glory to God. Found $200. Next day I had 2 flat tires. Both of the tires cost $85. And guess what? And after they mounted and put it on, it was $230. I had to put $30 with my blessing. And you know what I said? In the natural, I said, man, every time I get something happens. But when the scales fell off, I said, wow, thank you, God, for seeing them tires about to blow in you. Thank you, Father. I don't need to get $40 out of my pocket and not $240. But you got to get to that now. Don't try that at home. You got to get to that in your spirit. That's how God is. He's an awesome God. He used me. If he can use me, he can use anybody. I believe that we need testimonies that people can touch. Not just what happened in the Bible, not about what God did, but what he is doing. He's doing it right now. And if you understand these 2 things, to love God with all your heart and to love thy neighbor as thyself, you can survive this world. Because we all, whether you like it or not, we are going to leave this earth. It don't matter how many of your homeboys at the club with your face on your their t-shirt, going out licking your name and saying you're the realest homeboy. They be dancing around. But wherever you going, you're going to be there forever. You're going to be here by yourself. Don't let the world fool you. I see someone say they'll die for what they believe. We can learn a little something from them sometimes. Because they die for what they believe. And they're organized. We know that we got about 324 million people in America, 1 million gangs, about 11 million single gang members roaming this earth. But yet still, those little amount of people compared to those that are not in the gangs, why are they so effective? Why are they so effective? Because they all came together for one common purpose, the same way the church should be doing. I'm not trying to build up my church, but the body. I want to build the body. Hold hands across America with my brothers and my sisters. This is what I want to do. That's what we got to do. Does God matter? Does he matter to you? I don't believe in asking people to praise God, but hallelujah, Father. So it doesn't matter your age, young people. It does not matter your age. But all I need you to know, young people, it's not how you start, it's how you finish. Now, whatever you have done, whatever you don't understand, don't worry about it. The revelation is going to come. But there's a purpose and there's a reason for you being planted in this church. The apostle has a word for you. Just a messenger that came here to bring the realness of what I see weak to lay it on myself. I know. You should be able to heal yourself, brother. I know how to tell you sometimes. Where's your faith, brother? It's okay to hurt. It's okay to cry. It's okay to say, I don't know. It's okay to ask for help. It's okay. You got to know the answer to everything. If you did, you know earthly good, you might say, take your boy on in. Love someone. Encourage someone. Encourage someone. That's big. You have to encourage them, Apostle. You have to encourage people. You have to let them know when they did a good job. You have to always point out people's flaws, what they didn't do right. You did a good job, but if I was no. We don't need to hear that other part. Learn to pray for people. Don't just tell somebody to pray for you just for conversation's sake and they go about your business. Actually pray for them. People's breakthrough. People's breakthrough. Caught up in you being honest. Do what you're supposed to do. God put you in a place